one of the people ambling about, assembling forth. We got some gang activity here. Looks like they're getting ready to tow this car. So they must have already arrested somebody. Probably drunk driving. There's that looked like that cop might be getting into a regular vehicle over here. I think that was a cop. Oh, he's pulling away right now too. Well, I'm gonna try and see if I can get eyes on him. No, it wasn't a cop. But this wrecker is definitely towing this car. The door was open. Oh, he's searching the vehicle. I can't really tell if there's somebody in this cop car or not, because the lights are so bright. But this officer is definitely searching this vehicle. And the tow truck driver is waiting on him to do whatever it is that he does. Basically extort from the people. I mean, for all I know, this vehicle could have just been left here. I mean, whatever kind of search job he's doing, it's not very thorough. He's just kind of opening the doors and looking around. Maybe he's just cataloging things for the tow truck. That makes sense, I guess. There's a possibility I'll be able to find out what happened. Depends on the mood of this officer, of course. I'm at Regions. I guess that's a bank. Texas Heritage Plaza. Law offices of Les Romo. Arthur Eberth, USA. Brazos River Authority. Edward Jones, M&S Engineering, Civil, Electrical, Structural, MEP. But this is Regions right here. So he's searching the back area right now. He's trying to open the back. Okay. He's learning. I could probably get a little closer. Wouldn't hurt. I'm no threat to you at all. I'm no threat. I'm not going to harm you at all.
I don't want you in between me and my vehicle.
Oh, that I can understand. That I can understand. Yeah, no. How about this? Yeah, no problem. Oh, right here? I'm not in between you and the... Well, you can't really kick me off of this property. You can't.
Sir, absolutely. I talked to you yesterday. We had a great conversation. Listen.
Oh, yeah, Officer Watson. Yeah, but you can't kick me off of the property.
I need you at least a certain amount of feet away from
I know, 10 feet.
The United States Supreme Court.
I'll tell you what.
That is absolutely possible.
I'll tell you what. I'll go over there.
I'll
go over there. I'll go over there if you just answer a couple questions for me before you leave.
I am right in the middle of something.
No, before you leave, I'm saying. Before you leave.
I will.
Okay. I can definitely stand over there. He certainly can't restrict me, but you know, he's trying to throw his weight. But nevertheless, I did talk to this officer last night and he was very nice, so I'm going to abide, only because I want to get some answers and see what happened here. But you know, the Supreme Court has ruled that 10 feet is fine. He does have a valid point about being in between him and his vehicle, but you know, other than that, I mean, I could walk right through the middle. You know, this tow truck driver can be there. I mean, he's not he hasn't sealed off like this parking lot or anything. You know, it's not a crime scene, so anybody is free to travel through there. That parking lot is public access. And you know, so I'm free to go through there just like anybody else would be. Just because I have a camera doesn't mean that he can restrict me in any way. Now, I mean, he is entitled to, you know, some distance, you know, but I wasn't really breathing down his neck or anything like that. And he did meet me last night, so, you know, and we were cordial with one another. I would think he would have given me a little bit of leeway, you know, but he doesn't want what he's doing to be recorded. And that's the problem, you know, is that the press has a right to film him, whereas he doesn't have any rights at all right now. He has privileges and immunities, nothing more, nothing less. And you know, unless the owner of this property was to ask me to leave, he has no authority to ask me to leave, you know. But I do want him to answer a couple of questions at the end, so I am being Are you done, officer?
Not quite. I got to get the information, and then I'm going to hand him a form, and then I'll be done. I'll come talk to you.
Okay, thank you. I mean, of course, just because he seems nice right now, actually less nice than he was last night, he's still a gang member. He still has that gang patch on, and I'm not fooled at all. You know, I was actually a lot closer to him last night than I was tonight. But after he asks a few questions, you know, or answers a few questions, I'll certainly try and have a reasonable conversation with him about my right to film what he was doing, you know, and I'll grant him the fact of being in between him and his vehicle. But you know, oh, this tow truck driver is driving the car. I don't know if that's cool. I've never seen a tow truck driver do that. I mean, that's why they have a tow truck. They're not supposed to drive the car. I don't know who authorized him to drive that vehicle, but you know, he did it anyway. So I really enjoyed talking to you. But Marbury versus Madison, 1803,
okay.
137, 5 U.S.
Yep.
Or 5 U.S. 137, yep. I'm sorry. That case said that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Correct.
And any law that comes into conflict with the Supreme Law is null and void.
Correct.
Not from the point that it is branded null and void in a court of law, but from the beginning.
Based on the 10th Amendment.
So as opposed to what you're saying about just because they didn't say we could do it, well, we could do it. And we could always do it. And we don't need the Supreme Court to tell us we can do it. We can do what we feel like we can do.
Right, but you sometimes could either get in trouble or get arrested or not be able to sue somebody because nobody told us.
Well, sue them personally.
Yeah.
Yes, that's your qualified immunity, but the city, that's a different story.
Yep.
Right? You guys might not be able to go to jail.
And by the way, my mom was not a judge on that panel.
Right, like let's say you
retired.
shoot somebody, okay, you might not be held criminally responsible, but there's a wrongful death case, and you lose that case.
Completely
right?
different.
And in Turner's case, he didn't win on qualified immunity,
Yeah. He lost
but
all
he
the criminal
did
cases.
win on a rights violation. I believe it was the Fourth Amendment, because they had no reasonable articulable suspicion that he had committed a crime, and they detained him. And in Texas Penal Code 3802 says you cannot detain someone without reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime. Period. End of the story. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Nope. That's not what it says.
That is what it says. Well, it says, no, I'm sorry. 3802 is about ID.
Yes.
But in order to detain somebody, you do have to have reasonable articulable suspicion.
And
3802 says that you have to be lawfully arrested.
Two other areas.
Of 3802?
No, under federal law and Texas law, you forget about two other
Well,
areas.
you don't enforce federal law.
Sure.
No, you're a state or at best and city.
So I was a federal agent before I came here.
Maybe you're still a federal agent. I don't know, but I mean, police department.
Even though I'm no longer a federal agent, there are still some types of federal things that we still abide by and we still enforce.
Like what?
Now, that doesn't mean. So let's say there's a weapons violation, it violates federal law. We will detain that person and or arrest them and then turn them over to federal authorities.
Sure.
So I have just enforced federal.
Sure. But in Turner's case, there was no
now?
reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime.
I agree with you.
And they put him in the car.
I agree with you, but at that point, he believed, okay, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying he believed that nobody had the inherent right just to film no matter what, and that it was suspicious. And way back when they had people,
they kept saying that. The judge kept saying, suspicious of what?
Right. Exactly.
Of what?
Right, exactly.
And
like
they never could
I'm not
answer.
disagreeing with you on that one.
And that's why they lost.
I'm glad that they wrote down that piece in their opinion.
Yeah.
Because even though Turner lost the case, that opinion in that case made it so where basically next time, if anything like that happened again, it's very clear to law enforcement, you can't do that. Okay?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Now, if there's community caretaking, which is separate from articulable reasonable suspicion, okay? And then there's also sometimes immediate breaches of peace and investigative stops, which are slightly different, okay? Now, most of that is going to be under
Well, you have to be
reasonable suspicion.
investigating a crime.
Not necessarily, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
What are you investigating? You can't go on a fishing experiment.
Nope, it's not a fishing experiment.
Well, expedition.
Somebody, is it a crime to murder yourself?
Well, it'd be called suicide. It's not called.
Is there a federal?
I don't
know
know about Texas. I don't know.
There's no federal or state law that says you can't.
I mean, it'd be kind of stupid to have one.
How would you prosecute after they're dead, right?
I've heard of some laws about that.
Can
though,
I
that it
detain
is
somebody
illegal.
that's trying to kill themselves?
You can detain a person.
Yes.
You can detain a citizen, but you cannot detain one of the people.
Right. But
oh, you said right? You understand?
No. I completely disagree. Now you're going to get into YouTube and sovereign law. And
no,
stuff like that.
I'm not talking about sovereign law. I'm saying
but
that.
On that,
where do you get the authority to touch one of the people?
That person didn't commit a crime, but I am lawfully allowed to detain them.
A person.
Okay. So
the Fourth Amendment.
So that's what I'm saying is it's not just articulable reasonable suspicion. There are certain other narrow areas that we are allowed to detain people that even if they've never committed a crime, and I don't even believe they're committing a crime. But I'm still allowed to do community caretaking to preserve life. So there are times that
you have to have reasonable articulable suspicion that they are a danger to themselves or others, or that they have committed a crime, are committing a crime, or are about to. Those are the things. I said it first. I said...
You missed one word in that. It says may have committed a crime.
Yeah, may have, are committing a crime, or are about to.
The may is very important.
Well, but you have to be suspecting them of a crime in particular, or that they're a danger to themselves or others.
Yep.
Yeah,
More than
and you can't just say, well, they're, you know,
it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
You have to have a
crime. A lot of cars are broken into. There's a guy wearing all black. He's got a backpack. Could he just literally be walking from his car into his apartment? Absolutely.
That might be reason to stop him and talk to him.
Absolutely. I can detain him
to talk to him,
investigate,
sure,
and try to figure out. Now, if he's like,
you can't demand his ID, but you can't demand his ID, right? Not in Texas, not in a lot of states.
I wouldn't break federal law by getting his ID, but I would break Texas.
I don't know about federal.
Federal says you only need reasonable suspicion, and you absolutely
right. If you're detained, a lot of states are detained, like Louisiana. So, if you're detained, they can.
But since the federal government says, "Hey, you're allowed to do this," then it's up to the 10th Amendment. The state says, "Yeah, but we're not going to allow you to do it." And since it's tougher, they're allowed to do that. It's not less; it's more.
Right.
So they're allowed to do that. So here in Texas, now when I've lived in other states and I was law enforcement, if I had them detained on a reasonable suspicion, and I don't have a crime yet, I just reasonably believe they may have committed one or may be in the act of committing one, I can actually say, yes, you have to give me your ID, and if they didn't, they're committing a crime not giving me their ID.
No, you have to lawfully arrest them first. Nope. In Texas?
No. Well,
oh, you're talking federal.
Not in Texas.
Oh, you're talking federal. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Once you're
federal.
detained.
Now, once I moved to Texas and I became Texas law enforcement, then the understanding was, since Texas doesn't have that.
Right. This isn't a stop and ID state. Like California isn't either. Right. There's lots of states that aren't stop and ID states.
It's a hard phrase because it leaves it too open to what that means and what it doesn't mean. But
I mean, you guys get a lot of leeway.
You mean by that, and
you guys get a lot of leeway, you know. But I do want to say one thing, because you brushed me off real quick. But the Fourth Amendment says the right of the people to be secure in their persons.
Yes.
Now, if the people are in their person, then their person must be a shell of some sort. And it says their person, THEIR. That's ownership. If the people own their person must be something that can be owned. You cannot own a people.
Yeah. But there's
and it's in the same sentence as houses, papers, and effects.
Out of something that there's absolutely no other rulings or basis or anything that shows.
Absolutely, there is. You're not letting me talk.
You're welcome to believe that, but I'm not.
You're not letting me talk.
Right.
Just
I'm
let me. Oh, okay. But let me say a couple more.
Yeah.
And then
I disagree with your statement.
Well, hold on. The slave clause. Okay, it says all other persons shall be counted as 2/3.
Yes.
Or 3/5, right?
Yeah,
now,
racist.
I'm not getting at that part of it, but what I'm saying is that they are clearly saying slaves were persons. They were whole entire persons, but for that one instance, they were being counted as 3/5. But they were persons.
Right.
And slaves were not the people, but slaves were not people.
They should have been whole persons, not half.
Slaves were not people. They were persons.
They were considered property until they wrote
because
that,
persons
and
are
on,
property.
They got rid of that.
Because persons are property.
They are not.
They are too. Citizens versus United. Okay. A corporation has the same rights or privileges as any other person. They're the same.
Sorry, man. I don't believe in slavery, and I believe that people are free.
No, people are free, but persons. All the same. But I'm not talking about slaves. I'm not talking about that.
I don't do slavery right
no, I'm not talking about that. You're missing me. You're missing me. Have a good night, officer.
Have a good night, sir.
But you missed me on that. I don't do racism or anything either. That's not where I was going. You got a wall. You got a wall all of a sudden, and you took it to racism. When I bring that up, it's touchy, but it's not because I'm trying to talk about that.
Like I said,
it's because I'm trying to say that the slaves were called persons. Our fathers called them persons, but they were not considered one of the people. So when the Constitution was written, people and persons are not the same thing.
They passed laws and amendments that got rid of all that, and I believe in that.
They got rid of slavery, but they never changed what a person was. They defined a person in the 14th Amendment. Any person born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the authority thereof shall not be deprived of any privileges or immunities. Privileges or immunities are not rights and powers. The people have rights and powers, and citizens have privileges and immunities. They may seem the same, But privileges can be revoked and rights cannot be.
I disagree with you, and so do all the court and the Supreme Court.
No, they don't. The people have rights. Have a good night. Yeah. That was a good talk. But he has a major wall. He doesn't listen very well. He likes to talk. Last night he was a little bit more amenable, but yeah, press on.
Master by the name of Bates, smoking more than all 50 states combined. Yeah, right, I gotta stay on the grind. I got no money, so my weed's on my mind. I hit the club, but you know I can't dance. 7 and 7 in my cutoff chance. Tie that shirt in my long ass hair. What part of how I look makes you think I